Hello and welcome here to the second sprint race here at Fuji Speedway for the opening round of the Rei Sportscar Championship. The grid is the same grid as the first sprint race, as qualifying determined both of the two grids. So we'll just have a quick rundown of this grid. So starting on pole is Erpachito. Then we've got Bradesvi, Mr. Mako, Sigrezo Nico, Stefan, Ross, Sammy, Charlie Fraser in 8th, Scanny Flickers 9th, we've got Tyler in 10th, Cyberstrike in 11th, Dangerfield Wow in 12th, who sadly retired last time out, Drade in 13th, No Key, who also retired last time out. We've only got 14 drivers as Fixed Trip is sadly unavailable for this second sprint race. So let's get going. We'll see if things are a little bit different compared to the first sprint race. Pachito absolutely dominated the first of these two races, and with one of his main rivals, Sigrezo Nico, starting in 4th position yet again, he might replicate that quite easily. So we are away as they go through first and second gear. Will Bradesvi be overtaken into turn 1 as he was last time? Well, he actually seems to be quite close to Pachito this time around. Pachito defending quite heavily, and then actually things looking pretty clean. Oh, it's a bit of contact further back, and that's Scanny on the inside of Charlie. I think there maybe was contact just behind, but Scanny in 8th, and then we've got Charlie and Tyler fighting for 9th place. Further ahead, and things have been pretty clean so far in this opening lap. It's actually been a very tidy event from most of these competitors, which has been quite surprising as we've got a range of new and old drivers, but it seems like a gap is forming here between first and second as Bradesvi have a slight defensive move with Mako behind, and then further back we've got Sig and Stefan. Oh, actually things are quite close at the back. Let's just jump to that. So we've got Dangerfield and Charlie. Charlie's spun. Charlie, I think, had an incident. So Charlie, Dangerfield and Drade were all very, very close. Drade on the inside of Charlie, didn't make that move, but Dangerfield went wide, and oh, that was an incident with Drade. Has that sent Drade around? Well, it did slightly, and that's unfortunate for both of those two drivers. They end up at the back of the pack, but that allows Noki to benefit. Meanwhile, Dangerfield, wow, not as much under pressure, although he might be now that he's made a mistake. We'll see if Noki can catch up. But if we go back towards the front, as I think Dangerfield wow was actually losing that position, Pachito's got a big lead already at the end of this first lap, and Mr. Mako's looking for the move into turn 1. Bradesvi not defending, but has Mako got the run? I don't think he has, as it seems as if maybe a little bum draft was done between Bradesvi and Mr. Mako. Sig looking very, very close in 4th, who's got a gap to 5th place Stefan, not Beloff. And then further back there is actually a gap to 8th. Cyberstrike's had a fantastic start from near the back. He's got ahead of way too many napkins, and Samios, who must have made a big mistake. Let's see, can we actually catch this? I don't know how. Oh, so Samios has spun from 7th place. It's a very similar mistake to what Sigrezo Nico made in race 1. But if we just go back to the live footage, we can see that Noki did get past Dangerfield well, and also Charlie Fraser has got past Drade after their incident. But back up front, and we can see that Erpachito has got a second gap if we just go towards him into this hairpin. It's a fantastic livery, as are many of the liveries here in the Rei Sportscar Championship. A lot of effort has been put into these, as his flying lizard livery pulls away from the likes of Bradas, Mako and Sig. It's a great three-way battle here for second. Yeah, I think the next two close drivers are Cyberstrike and Tyler in 8th and 9th. But will there be a move this time around up front? 27.8 is not too slow, but it's not quick enough to match Pachito. As actually Mako makes the move into turn 1. And can Sig sneak through? We'll go on board with the Italian. No, he cannot sneak through, but clean, good move there from Mr. Mako into second place. He'll be looking to pull away from Brothers this time. And possibly challenge the Italian for the win this time around. Further back, and actually Cyberstrike is doing a fantastic race in 8th place on those soft tyres. Way too many napkins is on the medium, so he may struggle. Oh, Mako goes a little bit loose out of the chicane, gets a small penalty that will get rid of fairly soon. But this is really going to affect him and sort of possibly cost him the opportunity to close on the race leader. Oh, Sig actually is the closest to Brothers that he's been on this last lap. But due to the slipstream that Brothers has got, I don't think any move is going to be made. Let's go a little bit further back as we just see these drivers go pretty single file through turn 1. So Samios has moved into 9th place. Noki is in 11th, close to Dangerfield. Is he close for a move? He's got a bit of a slipstream. Meanwhile, Charlie Fraser in 13th is unable to get the slipstream from Dangerfield. This would be a fantastic move, but no, unable to pull that move off so far. These two drivers both retired in the first race. But let's go. Still no. Actually, I think Sig has actually dropped a bit away from this pack. Yeah, so Sig, we can see, has made a slight mistake. I think he's also got a penalty. And now Stefan and Ross are closing in, although that's actually quite a big penalty for Ross, the Irish driver. But he can get rid of that fairly soon. Stefan having a great performance here in his Fujifilm Porsche. But we're just going to look at this close battle here between Sammy and Cyberstrike, both of which are on soft tyres. The driver behind is on mediums, and that is Tyler in 10th. Sammy's lap times are actually fairly good, at least his previous lap of a 28.7 was. Although he's possibly struggling to find the confidence here behind Cyberstrike. Oh, Cyberstrike's gone off, Cyberstrike gone off. Oh, he was having a great time of it in 8th. He spins around, he does a 720. That's quite a good 720. Oh no, it is not, because it's ended up being a 900, I think. He's had to another 180 to get around, and that's going to drop him into the clutches of Noki and Dangerfield. Wow. Further up front. Oh, Mako's made a mistake. Bradley looking for a move, and they're going side by side. That's going to slow them both up. Just that small mistake from Mako, missing that apex at the hairpin. And due to the way those two corners work together, it's absolutely horrible if you miss the apex, because it ruins your run through the next left turn, and then through pretty much the entirety of Sector 3, as the rear of Mako's car is not seemingly wanting to be connecting to the front of it. It's a great opportunity for Brothers V to overtake back into second place. I thought that maybe Mako would pull ahead after that overtake on lap 2, or I think it was at the start of lap 3, but Mako's having to defend, and Brothers V goes to the inside, Brothers V goes to the outside again, and Mako actually defends, but I think pushes Brothers V onto the curb slightly. Will Brothers V get ahead? That would be a fantastic move if he does. They are side by side through turn 2. And no, Mako stays ahead. Let's catch a Wolf Cola sponsored replay. We'll go on board here with Brothers V. So yeah, he goes to the inside here, maybe a dummy move, goes to the outside, but Mako closes the door on the outside. And then from there, Mako actually was able to accelerate just well enough as they approach sector 2, and this is perfect for the Italian in 4th, the reigning champion. All he will want is for these two drivers to fight, get involved in incidents and slow each other up. And if we just check the pace there, so Sigres and Eco on a 28.2, if he can keep that up, he'll definitely close on these two. And he is now back in slipstream distance. Meanwhile, Ebachito is about 4.5 seconds ahead, and it's only lap 6. Oh, Mako's gone onto the grass. Mako's gone onto the grass, and Brothers V is slowing down. Sig is right with him, and Mako's dropped down to 4th place. What happened there? Brothers V moves into 2nd place. Brothers V slowing down. Brothers, I think, is letting Mako by, so maybe it was a slight tap there into that hairpin. And yeah, Mako back into 3rd as Brothers V must have tapped Mako onto the grass, and that has allowed Stefan to also close up on this. But the person who has benefited from this the most is Sigres and Eco, gaining 2 positions, and 2 of his rivals losing 3 or 4 seconds each as we just go across the finish line. Yeah, we can see they've lost 4 seconds on that lap. As they now go side by side into turn 1, Stefan looking behind. And Stefan's braked far too late. Stefan has had a lot of slipstream there, rammed into the back of Brothers V. Stefan slows down, and Brothers V really struggled to get back on track there across the AstroTurf. Ross has nowhere to go and hits the British driver. So disaster there for Brothers V in the space of a minute. Taps Mako, slows to let him back through, and then big accident with Stefan. The positions there stay the same, but Mako's now 2.5 seconds up the road. And I don't think Ross is going to be too happy there of what happened at the exit of turn 1. But what was a great free car scrap for 2nd has now separated here on lap 7. We're just going to go further back and see what we've missed. So Sammy is in 8th place after Cyberstrike spun his car around. Way Too Many Napkins doing pretty well in 9th place, although his tyres, well, he might have to pit in about 5 laps and have a 2nd stint on the softs. So I don't think he'll be able to do the entire race on those tyres. Oh, Cyberstrike must have spun again, really struggling to heat up those tyres. Noki's still ahead of Dangerfield. Wow, so this is a great performance from him. Definitely improved since season 6. Dangerfield, this is not his first event of the Rei Sportscar Championship. He did take part 4 or so seasons ago, but not for too long. But he may get back up to pace in the future rounds. Drade is in 13th ahead of Charlie Fraser, but that is because Charlie Fraser on hard tyres. He's made a few mistakes. Seems as if those tyres are just not for him. In round 2 at Sardinia Road Course, he'll be looking to rectify these tyre strategies. What is the closest battle on track? It's Noki and Dangerfield as they go into towards turn 1. Noki's soft tyres aren't looking too good, meanwhile Dangerfield's, well, he's on medium tyres, but his mediums aren't the best either. Noki's braked far too late into turn 1, surely. I don't think he's made the turn. No, he hasn't. Noki way too wide, way too far on the inside. There was not there wasn't a need to defend that much against the British competitor. We might see some pit stops soon. And just looking a bit further up, it's looking pretty close here between Ross and Stefan. Scanny's a little bit further back, but Ross's soft tyres are dying essentially. Oh, what's happened here? Mako has made a big error. So Mako had a comfortable gap to Brothers V after the incident with Stefan, not Beloff, but he's just gone onto that curb too much, onto that grass. And then he struggled to accelerate and actually slightly blocks Brothers V at the exit of that final turn. But as we now go back onto this final main straight, side by side, and Brothers V's acceleration should allow him to move into turn 1. We can also see that Brothers V's rear tyres are a bit better than the Hungarians. Oh, Stefan defending from Ross in the background as Scanny Flick on the soft tyres pits at the end of lap 8. Brothers V back into 3rd place, so with all of these incidents, Sig and Pachito, the two Italians, are way out in front. I think we've got a spinner near the back. I think it's Noki. Noki's spun and he's fallen behind Cyberstrike. Charlie Fraser's really struggling on those hard tyres, but he will gain a position here on Drade, who made a mistake on his mediums and another mistake, so definitely some stuff that these drivers need to work on for the second round. But we go back up front on lap 9. Will Pachito pit or will he do another lap? His tyres are looking good. He's doing 27s and 28s. Meanwhile, the fastest lap of the race is held by him, and that is a 26.9. Yet another fantastic lap. In second place is Sig Rezanico, but he is going a little bit slower, but still comfortably ahead of third and fourth. And Ross has got ahead of Stefan. Oh, sorry, so going through this awkward left turn, we saw Tyler make this mistake earlier, I think. The curbs here really are not your friends. So Ross having a great performance in fifth in his debut event and his second race overall. So it's lap 9. I wouldn't be surprised if Stefan, not Beloff, decides to pit after that mistake, and actually third, fourth, fifth and sixth are all pitting as they enter the pits very, very quickly. Let's just compare the tyre wear. So Ross's front tyres were very badly worn. Stefan was more on the rears, and Brader's not affecting his rears as much as Stefan and Mako, and they exit the pits, and Bradersby comes out ahead of Mako, of course, followed by Ross and followed by Stefan. Scani, who pitted a few laps ago, is in 8th position, but he's not too far behind, but he is on mediums for the rest of this race. Now, crucially, those 4 drivers who have just pitted, we can see them in the background, and they are a few seconds behind Samios. Now, if you watched race 1 here at Fuji International Speedway, you would have known that Mako lost a couple of seconds trying to get past Sammy, who had yet to pit, and this time it's Brothers V who may lose out, because Brothers V is going to have to be the first one to overtake the American driver. Will Mako be able to find his way through? Well, they go through the hairpin, and that's a massive speed differential, but it's purely because of Brothers and Mako being on fresh tyres and Sammy being on 10-lap-old tyres, as our race leader, also on 10-lap-old tyres, enters the pits. Brothersby having to hold behind Sammy. Oh, Mako's on the inside. There's contact with the side of Brothers' car. Mako on the outside now. Brothersby having to defend from Mako. So this is great racing between these three, and Mako's got a fantastic run on the exit this turn. And Mako's getting the slipstream from Sammy. Sammy's trying to enter the pit lane. They're going... Brothersby has to give Mako the room. They're going 3 wide as Sammy actually breaks for the pit lane. Mako there. Great move. Defending the inside as Brothersby actually goes to the inside, slightly off track. If this move pulls off, we might have to see what the stewards think. Mako cuts back on the inside. This is great battling between these two. They are very well matched, and Mako keeps it. Fantastic stuff, and capitalising on Samios's alternative strategy to overtake Brothers V. And then even when Brothers V tried to fight back, that was very good work to get back on the inside at the exit of turn 1. And Samios has rejoined in 8th place, just ahead of Tyler, who is yet again on medium tyres. Dangerfield Wow is in 10th. He is yet to pit. And also someone who has yet to pit is Charlie Fraser. I mean, his hard tyres are good. He probably can go the whole race, but with mistakes like that and lap times of 33 and 34, he is going to struggle to get into the points. Or at least he's trying to struggle to get into the top 10, as it is based on average position. Cyberstrike comes out of the pits in 12th. Hopefully for him, he will be able to overtake Charlie on 2 set higher compounds, essentially. We've then got Noki and Drade. Further up front, and Epachito and Sig have both pitted. Mako defending from Brothers V, and Brothers V going for the move at turn 1. No, I don't think he was necessarily going for the overtake, more just taking a different line. And Ross is still defending from Stefan, so we've got the two Irish drivers very closely matched here at Fuji. Oh, we got side-by-side action between Mako and Brothers V. Mako must have run wide at turn 3. Will Brothers go for a move here? No, he thinks better of it, but he will get a fantastic run out of that turn. We can see him closing, and we haven't seen many moves into the sort of hairpin chicane-esque Tilke corner, but Brothers V's going to do it as he dives down the inside. There's no contact this time around, it seems. That's a good move from Brothers V, but it's a great exit from the Hungarian around the outside from him, cutting back, but Brothers V holds on for now, and that might be it. But we are now going on to one of the longest straights in the calendar. Oh, side-by-side contact onto the AstroTurf. Brothers V goes Mac on the inside. That is an opportunistic move if I know one, but it's working out as they go side by side. And Mako's going for the slipstream. Brothers V is the one to defend this time around as he almost goes into the pit lane. He was defending that hard. In the background we can see that Ross is still holding on from Stefan, but here Mako breaks a bit later, but he has the outside. Ooh, very slight contact with the rear left corner of Brothers V. No harm done though. Brothers keeps that position, and if he can keep it now for the next lap, that could be this podium position settled between these two. Sammy has made a mistake. It's at the final turn yet again, and that's a very similar mistake to what he's already made this round. Into the wall head first. Tyler is into 8th place. That's a real shame there for Samios. Meanwhile, further back we've got Dangerfield yet to pit on lap 12, but it seems as if he might enter the pit lane now. He does. Cyberstrike will therefore move into Cyberstrike will move into 10th place. Then we've got Charlie Fraser. He stays out, and then we've got Noki and Drade, both of which have been lapped. Yeah, Brothers V's held on for the last lap, and Mako's not as close as before. We saw in the previous race that Brothers V's tyre conservation was slightly better than that of Mako, and this is where it really matters as we get to these final 5 and 6 laps. Ross's pace, meanwhile, on the softs is absolutely exceptional for a debutant. 28.2, 28.3. Oh no! I've jinxed him. I have jinxed him. He loses out on 5th place. But doing low 28s is really good pace. That is matching most of the front field, probably with the exception of Verpachito, who could probably do a 24 if he thought about it. But that puts Stefan into 5th place, and if we just look at his lap times, we can see that roughly they're similar pace, although Stefan may be a few tenths slower a couple of laps ago. Now, on his own is Scannyflick in 7th on medium tyres, and with Tyre in 8th also on medium tyres, we may not see that gap close in. The closest battles do seem to be up front, as we've yet to have a driver retire from this race, although we did have Fixtrip, who sadly was unable to start after his good first race in the Rei Sportscar Championship. The driver that we barely talked about is the leader, doing 28.2 and 27s on the last few laps. Still has the fastest lap for the 26.9, I think it was. Sig Resnico's had a few high 27s, but his last lap of the 29.3 isn't up to his standards. But after dominating the last few seasons, at least on pace, but he did make a few too many mistakes. But now on pace, he doesn't seem to be the fastest driver, as the relatively new Italian is taking up the throne. Further back, we've got Charlie Fraser on his hard tyres, I believe, being lapped by Brothers V. Actually, I believe Charlie Fraser may have pitted and may now be on a softer compound. Let's just double check. Yeah, Charlie's now on the softs. He will be looking to catch up Dangerfield Wow, but Dangerfield Wow is about 15 seconds up the road. Also, will we see these two drivers be pretty closely matched for the last 5 laps on different tyres? This time the lap cars are ghosted, so it won't affect Mako as much as it did last time. So just looking here at the race leader, Pachito driving exceptionally, hitting all these apexes, using a lot of the track. And Sigres and Nico unable to find an answer, although I don't think he'll be too disappointed with second place, especially after qualifying 4th. Brothers V in 3rd with Mr. Mako in 4th. Stefanot Beloff moves into 5th place after Ross's small mistake, and since then Ross's tyres haven't been too good and he has been unable to catch up that ground yet once again. Scannyflick in 7th, he's very consistent, doing 30.3, 30.4, 30.2, etc. but currently on his own, but it's still solid points for him. We've then got way too many napkins conserving his tyres quite well. Not as consistent as Scannyflick, but still a good performance from him. Samios in 9th, he's on soft tyres, so may catch up way too many napkins, but earlier mistakes have cost him here in this second sprint race. Meanwhile, Cyberstrike's having a fantastic race for him. He's had a few poor races here and there in the last couple of seasons, but finishing 10th for him would be a bit of redemption. He's been quite consistent, hasn't made too many big errors. Dangerfield Wow is about 15 seconds behind him, currently in 11th on soft tyres, being quite consistent, although that penalty is not going to help him. Charlie Fraser is closing up to Dangerfield Wow, but maybe not enough laps in the day for him to get 11th. Then we've got Noki another 15 seconds back, being fairly consistent, and hopefully he can improve further in the remaining races. And then we've got Drade, probably yet again another 15 seconds back. It seems to be that's the way these cars are separated further back. And in this 8-round season, hopefully we can see some progress and for more of the drivers to be closely matched as we implement ballast. Ballast is going to be affecting the race leader the most as he closes in on the penultimate lap, still setting fantastic lap times. 28.2 on worn tyres is not something to be messed with. We haven't got too many close battles, although Mako's tyres are leaving him vulnerable to attack from Stefanot Beloff, as I think Charlie Fraser spun around. There he is, facing the wrong way out the final turn. But Stefanot Beloff, I think, is going a little bit quicker than Mr. Mako. And what that means is Mako is having a bit of pressure applied to him, and if he makes a mistake similar to what he made at the final turn about halfway through the race, Stefan can capitalise and get a top 4 finish. Stefan's already capitalised on Ross's earlier mistake. This is just one of the fantastic liveries we've got in the Rei Sportscar Championship. This is a Pac-Man themed livery. You can see Inky, Blinky, Pinky and Clyde on Ross's Porsche 962C. I think Stefan may have made a small mistake because The gap between him and Mako is slightly increased as we see these cars go through that final sector. It may not be a sector that drivers enjoy to drive on, but it has provided some fantastic racing here today for round one of the Rei Sportscar Championship. As the leader is on the final lap, just a reminder that the next round next week is at Sardinia Road Course, the D layout. It's a new track for many of these drivers, and that, with the ballast, will provide for some very unpredictable racing. Pachito looking very, very calm, even with worn tyres, and still setting lap times faster than anyone else can really challenge. We've got Sigres Nico about half a second back. Sometimes he's setting times around the same, but with 28.8 and 29.1, it's just a few tenths a lap slower that currently may mean that Pachito is the favourite for the title. Brothers V had a lot of second place finishes last season, but now it seems as if both Sig and Pachito are faster than him, so he may have to settle for third a bit more this season. But someone who is not settling for third is not only our race winner for race 2, but race winner for race 1 as well, and double fastest lap earner, taking the championship lead with a full 27 points out of 27. A fantastic performance here for round 1. Then we've got Sigres Nico in second, rectifying his race 1 mistake. Brothers V comes home in third after a couple of incidents in the first half of the race, but then he had fantastic battling with the 4th place driver, Mr. Mako. In 5th place, weaving all over the place, very happy with his 5th, Stefan Notbeloff, with Ross in 6th. A good performance, but it could have been better if it wasn't for that turn 1 error. Scanny Flick now coming out of the final turn to finish in 7th on those medium tyres, followed by way too many napkins in 8th place on a similar strategy. He does go a little bit wide though. Samios will finish in 9th place, and he is the last driver to not be a lap down, as Cyberstrike finishes the lap down in 10th place, but that's still a fantastic performance for him. Charlie Fraser in 11th, who made that switch to soft at the end. Noki in 12th place, and Drayden 13th. We hope you have enjoyed this round.